Hey everybody, Adam from Atlas Gunworks. Talk about trigger sizing today. So we're going to talk a little bit in the beginning here about why that's important, and then I'm going to jump right into the triggers and what size you probably need. So as a reference, in just a minute, I'm going to measure my hand to give you an idea, but I have a medium on the plus side, so small, large, big, medium hand kind of thing. Most of the time when I buy gloves, I buy a large and they fit well. Sometimes they're too big. Every now and then I have to go to a medium. So it's and hand size, if you buy the sized winter gloves, I think I'm a 9. So one of the most important things I think in firing a firearm is the relationship of the trigger to the system, right? And so if you think about a rifle, the gun's mounted and you pull the trigger and you have a lot of stability because the gun's mounted. When we're holding a pistol, nothing's mounted, right? This thing's floating out in air and the only thing holding it up is your hand. So you get that slight bit of movement all the time. And all we're trying to do whenever we fire a pistol, right, is activate the trigger and not move the gun. But this influence here is going to do something. So there's a couple different factors to that. One, how light's your trigger pull, right? So 1.5 pound trigger, a lot better than a 6 pound as far as having to influence less on the sight picture or what you're seeing, where the actual muzzle's pointed, right? Sight picture is probably less descriptive than where the muzzle is. But the other part is getting this hand, or whichever your dominant hand is, to activate that trigger with the utmost ability to not influence the muzzle. And so if you're reaching way out or you're reaching way in, you're going to get more of this sympathetic movement in your hand that we're talking about. You're just not getting the straight pullback. So generically, the rule is, we'll flip to the other view here, is that I want to be 90 degrees. So I want my finger to come, my finger's up here, I decide I'm going to shoot the gun, my finger comes in, and my finger's pretty much parallel with my body. So I pretty much got that here on a short flat. So most folks are going to be a short flat. If we're just talking flat for a second, they're a short flat for medium, and on the smaller side of large hands, which is a lot of folks. And then anybody with a little bit bigger than that's going to go to medium. So if you start looking here, and I'll try to hold the gun upside down, but that finger's starting to point away from me. So again, I want it to be parallel with my body. So that same view here, finger's pretty parallel to my body, and then here I'm starting to point away, and then curling back in on an extra short flat like this one. You can see here my finger starts to come back in. So our trigger system is really unique and cool. The coolest part about it is they're on threaded. The bow's threaded, so you get some micro adjustments. So there's two factors here. What am I going to use for the actual trigger shoe? We got to be close there because this is only a micro adjustment with the threads. So trying to get that is right. Again, most people these days are doing flat. So 85-90% of people are going to be either one of these, right? So short, flat, or medium. The medium looks cooler, so we sell more mediums, but try to get the right one on the first go there. And then once you're just off a little bit, again, you can take if this is a large flat, and I'll show you what those look like in the grip here in a second, but you can just thread it out, and I think I'm doing this from a long time memory, but it adds about 15, 20 thou every time you thread them out in distance, in or out. And we can, people can get super custom if you want. You could thread them all the way in and hit your limiter, and then we could come in and notch the back of this to move it back. There's some things to be done, but most folks don't need that level. The actual size will get us there. So we'll run through all the triggers here, but in the shorts, or in the short flat, or the flat I should say, we have an extra short. So this is just very short. There's no window in it. There's no room for it. The trigger's super short. So that's your absolute short. Super small hands, that works great. Then we've got a short flat, and the medium, and then we have a long in the flat. And again, flats probably sell 9-1 against the curved today. They're just popular. But try to do a picture here of my hand trying to hold this. There's a long flat all the way out. It's pretty far. So I can shoot the short flat when I'm test firing guns and don't even notice. I could shoot the medium and it doesn't really influence the group a lot. If you put one of these in the gun, without me looking at it and I shoot it, I'll be like, this feels weird, it's not right, it's influencing, it's harder to manipulate. So guys who shoot a lot will really notice when the trigger's way off. Again, they're less popular, but we'll quickly run through the curved. So the curved only come in 3 sizes. We've got a small, and so these are off by 1 notch, typically, and this one's not threaded all the way back, but a curved short, I said small, but short is the term. A curved short is just bigger than an extra short flat. So it's kind of in the middle, but it's shorter than this one, and then longer than this one. And then we go to a medium. This is, if you're gonna get a curved, this is like 85% of people all day long. And this is what I would shoot if I shot a curved. And this one's screwed all the way out, and it's still pretty good for me. So there's the medium, by far the most popular. And then probably the least popular trigger we do, because it's curved and super long, is the curved long, which is a pretty big reach. So that's the trigger lineup. These work great to retrofit into other guns. And what's cool is you can change the color and by changing the shoe, or we can change the shape by changing the shoe. You just thread them all the way off, and you can put another one on. They are going to require fitting, and they work in the double stack on the original design by STI. So your para ordnances are not going to work. They have a different trigger system. I've heard of people retroing them in, but you probably don't want to. And then keep in mind when you're changing your shoe, the bow, especially if you buy an Atlas gun, is fit to the grip. So we'll do a bunch of tuning and fitting for this. So the bow always stays with the grip, and then the shoes, we just change the shoe out. So don't buy a whole kit if you need it, if you're putting it on a gun that already has this trigger system in it. So yeah, there are a little bit of fitting to get these in the plastic grips. I think we've got some old videos that show how to do that. Some of the new metal grips these drop into, some of them take some fitting. It's unpleasant, but if you're replacing just a shoe on an Atlas gun, the shoe should drop right into the Alpha grip or any Atlas gun built previous to that. Hope to see you guys on the range soon.